Hi, everyone, and welcome to Kikiko Events podcast, where we explore the world of wine, viticulture, sommelier world, travel, and wine tourism. I'm Kristine Mansuy. I'm your host and the founder sommelier of Kikiko Events. And in today's episode, we will dive into the role of communicators, the evolving role as well in women in the world of wine to influence knowledge, creativity, and entrepreneurship. And today I have the privilege to have Renée Sferrazza on the show. Super happy.
I'm so happy to be here. This is great.
Yeah. So just to tell our audience a little bit about you, you're a certified sommelier from the Court of Master Sommeliers. You're also a TV host, wine educator, wine writer, consultant, etc., all over the place. Very busy woman. And welcome, Renée.
Thank you. She was making fun of me 2 seconds ago because I was like, wait a second, I just need to finish this thing before we do this other thing. I feel like that's my whole life as an entrepreneur.
Always doing a new project. But that's exciting. That's exciting.
No, it's fun. I don't think I could ever work for I don't want to say I can't work for anyone else. I work with other people very well. I just love working for myself. It's been 12 years that I've been doing this now. Actually, maybe even more. I'm really bad at math. But I think it's just the best way I've found to live, especially in the industry of wine.
Yes, absolutely. So, yes. So, can you tell us a little bit about the foundation of your career? Like, what made you want to go into the wine industry and start your career and being an entrepreneur? And what was the first experience you would say that really changed everything?
Yeah, so I'd say like they're actually the entrepreneur side of my life and the wine side of my life were a little bit more independent than they were before they kind of came together in one. So the first company I started was actually a light fixture company. It was for custom light artwork. It was called Ravel Goods, like way back when I was in my early 20s. I had just graduated from university with a degree in environmental policy and urban development. I had not really figured out working in wine yet. And my dad taught me how to do some just like basic electrical engineering so I could like fix lights in my house. I was like, oh, I could sell this to people. I know restaurant contacts. I'd always been working in restaurants since I was about 14. I count Tim Hortons as a restaurant for that. And, I kind of just had this idea that I'm going to sell these things to these people. It wasn't until I kind of started realizing I couldn't use my degree as much as I could, that I really leaned into restaurants more. In that space, I had to learn more about wine to get more shifts. So I kind of ended up falling into this space where what I really cared about in my environmental policy degree was how kind of humans and environments work together. And wine is an agricultural resource at its core. And I find that they kind of scratched a need on both sides for me. Once I started learning about wine, I would go to wine trade shows, which happened all the time. I would go with a resume and I would just go and be like, if anyone wants to hire me at your winery, I will come. That happened. I got hired to work at a winery in Veneto region in Prosecco country near Treviso.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And I realized that they didn't like their importer. And as a young 24-year-old, I was like, it can't be so hard to start an importing company. I'm just going to start one and I'm going to import this wine and start selling.
Very naive, very naive.
It's a lot harder. It was very naive. But honestly, I wish I still had. Every 20-something-year-old needs to do something with their gusto and naivete, because if I didn't start that, then I wouldn't be where I am in wine today. So my first company in wine was an importing agency.
That's great. And you what age were you at the time?
I think it was 24 when I first got the idea, 25 when I came back from Italy and started learning about doing importation. I got my introductory sommelier at 25, and then I finished my certified sommelier certification at 26.
That's fantastic. I was 21 when I got my sommelier certifications, also very young. Yeah.
Oh my God. I did not know that. See, we're friends and I didn't even know this fact about you. Yeah. How terrible am I?
So for the audience, Renée is based in Toronto. So you always been working, you did some internships and a lot of travels, but you're always based in Toronto and you did your studies from like online, virtually.
So I did So I did my studies all online, not all online. Actually, online wasn't really a thing yet. It was starting to become a thing. Remember everyone, this is 2016. Okay. This
Yeah.
is that 10-year ago challenge that we're all doing now. What was happening in 2016. So for
Yeah.
me, I did have a little bit of a problem when I came back from Italy is that I had nowhere to live at the time. The apartment that I was living in had bed bugs, and I ended up having to like spend about 6 months of my life not really having a place to live, experiencing a version of homelessness. So I was hopping from place to place, but I really knew that I wanted to be in this industry and I wanted to do this. So I just started going to as many trade shows, tasting as many things as I could. At the end of the day, you know, learning about wine has two pathways to it. You have to taste and understand what you're seeing in the glass and read and understand like why those things in the glass are happening. Those books, you can get those books borrowing them from other people. I would borrow them and I would just like photocopy them at the library, or I would use a free subscription from somewhere, or use somebody gave me their Guild Som application subscription.
Yeah.
So I would just use all of that stuff. And I ran my life like I was in school, but I was not studying online. I think I spent a total of, I think like $900 to get my sommelier certification, including the wine that I bought to do pre-testing. There's a lot of really great and amazing sommeliers online right now that are the same age that I was when I started my journey. And I wish I had as much as them when I started, but
Sure.
it was like bare boots, nothing going on, script, like no money, no nothing, and just
Mhm.
hoping that it worked out. And it did.
The 900 is still an investment. But
That was
yeah, versus online. Yeah.
including the test, including the
Yeah.
wine. And
That's
the
not
test
bad.
was like, yeah, 600 at the time. I think I spent like $300 on wine.
Because just the WSET certification is way more than that for one level. So
It's a lot more now.
yeah,
It
it
was
is.
good 10 years back.
That's fun. That's really fun. And then importing, you just stop doing that, and then more like you more like yeah, doing
How
education,
did
you're
I
on
get
social
from
media.
importing to
Yeah,
here is the question.
yeah.
So the funny thing with importing is that, I started this business with other business partners. And one of the biggest things I've learned in working for myself and working with others is you really should pick your business partners very carefully. And you should make sure that you're very aligned in what you would like to do. I am now on my fifth business now, and I have a business partner in this one. It's different, a little bit different from wine. We could talk about it at the end,
Mhm.
but it took me about a year of knowing this business partner before I was like, oh, okay, let's do this together. I did not do that in
Yes.
my mid 20s when I started the importing agency. And I ended up separating from the importing agency. They had to buy me out, and they are continuing importing and
Okay.
doing what they would like. And I ended up at the same time as owning the importing agency, because if you own an importing agency, you know that the turnaround time for these businesses is about 10 years. Just like growing vines takes
Yes.
about 5 years for them to produce fruit, you got double that before you actually become incredibly profitable in the importing world. So I was starting a consulting business on the side to make additional funds for myself. And with that, I was working with restaurants as an on floor sommelier,
Cool.
but also as a consultant for restaurants that didn't need a sommelier, that had smaller lists. They just needed someone to come in and train their staff, teach them how to sell the products, how they paired with food. So I was doing that right up until the pandemic.
Okay, so you were more like in the restaurant hospitality, where
Mm-hmm.
we pretty much all started as some, because sommeliers, first of all, they're wine servers, so you have to know how to work in a restaurant and yeah, serve clients. And then from there, because there's a lot of people that maybe are asking the question like, where do I start creating content on social media? So
Mm-hmm.
how did you start?
So, you know, the pandemic really forced a lot of us to rethink the way that we were doing our lives, and I was not immune to any of that. And because of that, I had this business. I had exited my importing company like it. pandemic happened in 2020. I exited my importing company in 2019. So, and I was running the consulting business and doing more like sommelier work at the time. I was also getting on the board for CAPS and working with that kind of stuff at the Canadian Association for Professional Sommeliers Ontario chapter, and working with La Femme Divine and trying to just be as in the industry as much as possible. With the pandemic, it forced all of us to really slow down and to look at, what do I want to do? Especially we're stewards of wine in a restaurant space. People can't go to restaurants. Restaurants are struggling. They don't need us right now. We're actually like, sommeliers are like the top thing that people can cut out of restaurants because they can make a manager who has this do it. So I had a very small portion of my business that I was starting to pull online, and I ended up just throwing my whole self into that. I started posting more about just the wine learnings that I was having, things I found really interesting, just other stuff across the industry that I thought people would like to hear about wine. And I also started doing virtual events too, and just kind of threw myself into it. I know that people care a lot about what you should post online, but I genuinely think that if you have an interest towards something and you're incredibly authentic, the internet does reward you for that. People really do care about seeing someone who has a lot of authenticity to them and seems to care about what they're talking about, and it's like a genuine part of their life. And you see that with other creators out there. So that was where I first started.
Because you seem to do it so easily, and I love the way it's so easy, it's fun, it's not snob the way you talk about wine. So I think that's how you reach people a lot.
The funny thing is, in like the wine industry side of things, before I started really kind of focusing in on, okay, the internet people are my people. These are my people. I'm supposed to be in this side of the world. When I was more trying to be on the wine professional side of things, people would never really take me so seriously because this industry is very serious, but wine gets you drunk. People can drink and then be very stupid and silly. This duality between it is always hilarious to me.
True.
We have records upon records of what this soil sample is like that created this thing that ultimately somebody can buy off a shelf, know nothing about it, and have a great night. So it's like you're so useless, but it's also so fun at the same time. And I never found that was something that people in the wine industry really took seriously. But when I brought it into online spaces or other conversational spaces, people were like, oh, yeah, this is great. This is exactly what I think about wine. Why should I care about it? And then this is why.
And you can reach a greater audience. Like if it's too geeky or too specific about like the data sheets of wine, and I mean, it's not for everybody. I mean, not all the consumers are aware or took a wine class or knows like all the typicity of the things, and you just want to know, if is it good, what can I eat with this wine, and when can I drink it, and stuff like that. So
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So I think you probably, since it's from 2019, you saw the shift from traditional media, printed magazines, press and journals, switching to digital formats. So I guess we're seeing more and more content creators, as we call them, or content wine communicators instead of wine influencers. That's two different names that we could use. So I guess we're seeing the switch, that now people are going to see info online instead of buying magazines and stuff, and they're disappearing as well, like the wine magazines.
Yeah, the thing is, like, this is a multi-generational industry and people read things the way that they are, but we are also seeing like millennials are in their 40s now. Both of us are millennials, we know this, and look how well we have, our skin is looking so good. So
for now,
we'll age like wine. Anyway, so with all of this, there's a lot of people that are chronically online. There's more people now that are chronically online than chronically offline. And even if they are not like fully online as part of social media, they are reading digitally. They are watching digitally. They are not necessarily owning cable and owning a TV. They're not having a subscription come to their house. They're signing up to it on email and reading it on there, or they're watching like a morning show via the computer, via that connection that way. So even with like Wine by Renée, right now we work as a marketing and media business, some of which is owned and created by myself, but other sides of things are also on other platforms too, so that we can create great conversations for people around different products. That's how my partners work with me. But at the same time, we're meeting people where they are at. They're not always looking for print. They're not always looking for these options. They're looking for ways to discover their own rabbit hole in their own way. Nobody wants to feel like, oh my God, you read one thing on Sancerre. Let's tell you all about it forever and ever and ever. You're like, oh God.
Yes.
You got to stop at some point. Sometimes people don't want to know everything.
And I mean, it was really trendy before also the wine guides and like somebody telling you this is like 100, like 80 points on 100 and you have to buy this. This is good. This is approved. This is not approved. I think also this is changing a lot, even like with the awards and like, I feel like it's more like, it was more like baby boomers kind of stuff. I don't know if like the new generation is looking for medals and like points on wines, about like they want to know the story about the wines rather than like how many points it got.
I think the points in those types of stories are really, those are more industry facing than ever before. I don't think they were as industry facing in the past, and I do think it's an older crowd that enjoys them. I also think that they are confusing to people because you know, people interact with a scoring system in their own life as they go through school, and that scoring system could not be more different than the scoring system in wine, and have the same numbers attached to it, you know. So when you are looking at a wine score, unlike it being, wow, this is the best wine I've ever had, it's worth 90 points, that's not what that means at all. Which is what most people believe that a 90-point wine would be. This is going to be so great. I'm spending my money in a great way, and I'm going to take this home, and I'm going to have my socks completely knocked off by this bottle. Absolutely not. If you do not like... Listen, if you are a person who is constantly drinking champagne and then all of a sudden you see a 90-point Pinotage come out of South Africa and you're like, wow, this is going to be just like that champagne itch. It's going to be great. It's not. It's not going to live up to that for you. The point of the points is to showcase incredible quality and regional specificity from a specific area of the world. And that score, as close to 100 as it could be, would be that it fits the style, it fits the region, it fits all of that. None of that is ever explained. That is not on the bottle. It is not on the tag. It is nowhere where people can find it. And people are purchasing wines. Young people are purchasing wines and being like, oh, I don't like that. Why was it 90 points? Why should I pay attention to this?
And it's also like just quality overall. And it depends, like, we are both wine judges. Like, it depends, like, what was the wine tasted before and after? Like, what was it judged about? Like, was it in the category? Like, so, but I think it's just the overall quality. But as you say, like, it doesn't mean it's 90 points, or like 100 point or a gold medal, or it doesn't mean it's like, for sure. Yeah,
definitely not. You're still not going to be able to do that high jump, even though that person got a gold in it. So I think it's more related to kind of like Olympic standards than anything like that, because you could never do that. We would ruin it.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, and you know, being a woman in the wine industry, I think we're seeing more and more women, fantastic women, even from in the Canadian market. Even in Quebec, we have amazing sommeliers such as Véronique Rivet, we have Jessica Arnois, so many fantastic women in the wine industry who have a strong voice. We're seeing on social media, like you, Renée. How do you feel like the wine industry has evolved for women? Like, do you see that we have more opportunities? Like, I think,
you know, the pandemic did really help a lot of women in wine, because women have always been locked out of specific spaces. And this industry really got thrown off its game a lot just by the changing way that people are introducing themselves to wine, even in their own lives. And there was articles that came out in the beginning of the pandemic, people being like, these are the top wine influencers. None of them, barely any of them, were straight men. Barely any of them were straight men, even men of color. A lot of them were queer people
Mm-hmm.
queer men and women, and women of color specifically. These are all spaces where, people would have looked down on us previously and not seen as this as a space for us as well. And you see this in I don't wish that people could live through the restaurant and wine industry pre pandemic or around 2016, but it was very, very different. This is still the age of screaming chefs. It's still the
Yes.
age of the wine director is this guy, and the one or two women in the city that have earned a wine director position are so amazing, but like they're the only ones. And it's still
Mm-hmm.
that whole comparison of, oh, there's only one spot for one woman in the room or one person of difference in the room, no matter what they are. And now we've hit this edge where, there doesn't need to just be one. There was always room for more. And
Mm-hmm.
we're seeing that because of social media, because of the pandemic. I've always been a very outspoken voice in wine and focusing on women in wine in particular. One of my favorite things to say is I'm very happy to see that majority of my competitors are women. I would rather be compared to other great women than anyone else. And I
Yes.
really hope that I have like, oh, compare me to another amazing woman. My work stands on its own, but like I'd rather be compared to her than
Absolutely.
somebody else. So I'm very happy that this is the landscape that I am in. I would much rather it be this way, because now we're not just judging people because they come in a package that you just don't happen to like. If the
Mm-hmm.
content is the most important thing to be judged.
Mm-hmm. And even with all these wine competitions and movies and all that, like you see the competitive side a little bit more, I think, in the men in general, and the women a little bit more sensitive, more curious, and they bring a lot of creativity. That's what I like in women in the wine industry. Like they bring like more balance to the thing.
Yeah, I think it was Helen Mirren. She said, women speak the language of men all the time. We learn the language of men just by growing up in this world. They don't speak our language at all. That's fine. We have many creative ways around. Every community of difference has a way of talking about something without talking about something. I know so many women that if I'm somewhere and something is happening, and if I look across at like another woman who I don't even know in the room that also saw this other random thing that's not
Hmm.
great happening, we know exactly what we're communicating. And there's so many communities that communicate in the same way, where it's like, oh, I know exactly what that thought was, exactly how you move from point A to point B, and how they also didn't get there in the same way. But in terms of these competitions and everything, it's not just that men seem to be very competitive at. Women are also very competitive. I'm incredibly competitive. I know a lot of my friends are. But it's just more like learning the language of being forced to be graceful in your competitive nature, but
Hmm.
also forcing you to look and find ways to showcase that you are the right answer without a shadow of a doubt, which has always been the biggest competition.
Yeah. And even in women winemakers, we have seen spectacular talent and wines, and it's just so great to see that much talent in the female winemaker in the world.
Women have been part of making wine for since the Romans have been bringing those little grapevines all the way across, since the Greeks,
Yeah.
everything like that. Women have always been a part of the wine industry. Um, Women are making fabulous wine. They're making incredibly thoughtful wines. They're making wines that have unique processes to them. If they were it's funny. I think about it and I'm just like, some of the men that are on the side of like the natural wine movement or something that's like low intervention,
Mhm.
these very thought out, really non-commercial wines. I see a lot of women making really thought out non-commercial wines that are on the commercial side as well, because they get all these additional budgets to do these things, but they're still putting in these thoughtful processes, which is quite unique and interesting. And we're still not past the point of not saying this is an amazing winemaker who is also an amazing woman in wine.
True. And we're so lucky and fortunate to be in Canada because we don't have we don't have to hide. And in some countries I won't name, but like, yeah, women are still like in corners, and they don't. It's always the men up front, and especially in the wine business. So, and sometimes they're not invited at like events, like even. So we're really fortunate here. Absolutely.
No, we're very fortunate. We are living. I hate when people say, I'm like, I wish I was born in the 1920s. I'm like, no, you don't. If you're I she was born in the 70s. No, you really don't. The style is very great. You could wear it today if you wanted to. As a woman, this is the best time to be living.
Yes, it
There's
is.
no part of the past that's better than now.
Mm-hmm. It's really rare that we will find, it depends on the type of clients and all that, but it's rare that, let's say, like, they ask who is a sommelier, like in a restaurant, and then they ask for a man instead of a woman or stuff like that. Like, that's not really stuff that we would see here.
It's changed quite a bit. That's why I say, I'm like, I don't want people to relive the world of 2016, but the world of 2016 is not the world of 2026.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We're really fortunate.
Yeah.
Yay. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you about social media, AI, of course. We cannot not talk about it because you work a lot of social media. Are you active in all the platforms? Do you think it's useful? Let's say TikTok, for instance. And how do you think it's going to evolve? Like, are we going to be using the same platforms, or some platforms going to disappear? New ways of doing communications. I know vlogging is very trendy right now, so people see the behind the scenes. Yeah. So
in terms of all of that, it's good to be on as many social media platforms as you can, even if you're not going to be posting on it. Julia Coney, another amazing woman in wine, she was the first person to tell me this, and she'll tell almost anybody that will listen to her, go on that platform and go claim your name. Make sure that you have it, whether you're going to post on it or not, doesn't matter. At least you own your name on there. And it is to your benefit to own that. That is something that is truly yours, and you should continue to have it. It's also the same reason why you should buy your name in a website, even if you're not going to make it into a website. So I think it's incredibly self-serving to do that, and in the best possible way. Now, in terms of what you want to be a part of on social media, now with that, please only deal with as many platforms as you can handle. If you have a business and you need to be part of different platforms because that's where your business is, then fine. But like, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm not really on LinkedIn. Like, I'm kind of on LinkedIn. It's not my vibe. I'm incredibly dyslexic, and sharing in that way is very difficult for me. I much like video content. I'll do TikTok, I'll do Instagram, and I just started my YouTube channel, the Wine by Renée YouTube channel.
Yes, I was going to announce it. It's go see that, guys. Wine by Renée on YouTube. Really exciting.
We're doing more travel focused videos on there, a lot more deep dives, things that you can't really focus on in like 60 seconds or 90 seconds on a video. So we're really looking in different ways. And I personally like video content. I'm also a visual learner. So in that aspect, I lean into what I like to do. I have my name on Twitter, but X. And X. This is how you know I'm old. On X. And I don't use it anyway. I barely use my Facebook page. It just kind of reposts things from there. There's no need to be overwhelmed by social media if you don't want it to. It's you sign up for it and you work on it as you want to. It should be part of your business or part of your life if that's what you choose to do, but there's no reason to be overwhelmed by it. And just to make sure that like it will be part of our lives. It will be more part of our lives than ever before as we move into the future. But I think people are just trying to be a little bit more picky and choosy instead of just focusing in on doing everything and being everywhere, everything everywhere all at once.
It's too much. You need to select what works for you. Yeah, for sure. I mean, how many platforms? I mean, 6, 7, if you include everything, like it's a lot. Yeah, and as business owners, we know how much time and involvement it takes. For sure.
I was posting yesterday and it took me from start. I had the content done. It was already edited, ready to go. I had my caption written. Everything was done. This is just the posting. The posting on all the platforms that I wanted to post on from start to finish took 3.5 hours. There's a lot. just to get the content out.
But AI helps a lot. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do everything, I mean, but it helps a lot, like just for text and content and just correcting stuff and translation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can create.
I'm a big fan of AI. I know a lot of people aren't in this industry, but I am. I also think that, you have to find things that work for you. There are great AI features out there. Like I was just looking at it the other day. What is it called? Opus Clip, which can chop up a little video that you can just put the video link on, and it'll chop it up and make it into kind of those videos that people see on TikTok, which is great. There's also platforms called like Notebook LM. This is the one I recommend to most people who are actually studying in wine, because you can dump in all your notes there and it'll make you a podcast of two people talking about what you're studying. And like medical students use it all the time too. You think, oh, this is not going to be great. Trust me, it is scary how good it is. I use Notebook LM all the time, especially if I'm going to go give a speech somewhere. What I'll do is I'll upload like all of the information that I wrote into the speech I wanted to give, and I'll usually listen to it in podcast form on the way there, because I find it's like another way to get the information like fully into my brain. By the time I get there, I'm not thinking about like or looking down at my cards as much. ChatGPT is great for writing captions, but it's also really good for doing research, especially if you use it in the right way and you give it a prompt. So you have to tell it who it's acting as. You are a data analysis in the wine industry. I want you to find information for me on blank, 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 blank. I am working on this project. Can you go and search Reddit, this, that, for times people have mentioned the word wine or sparkling wine? Like, you have to be a little bit more specific with it. I don't think that AI can write something for you from start to finish without your input, but you can also give it a whole transcript of an interview and be like, can you please sort this for me? Can you get rid of all the ums? And can you get rid of all the the things that we weren't talking about that were interesting? Highlight the questions for me again. And then there's one more. Gemini is actually fabulous for doing presentations. You can dump in your whole text and it'll be like, okay, here are your bullet points. Here's an idea for your slide, this, that. There's a ton of stuff that's
seems like Wine by Renée should do a workshop on how to use AI to create content. I'm looking forward to it.
I should do that. There's a lot of AI out there, and I just think that we're at a stage where people don't know how to use it, and it's very frightening to them, and they think that especially in an industry as old as wine, it feels like it's taking away from this very human thing.
Well, we have to double check everything, that's for sure. Like ChatGPT sometimes makes mistakes, and it's also going to take data of other people who publish. So of course, if we're doing research on a winery, that we have to double check everything on the winery's website and all the different sources, but it's just going to do that for you faster. It's just that sometimes the data or the information is not as accurate sometimes, but yeah.
At the bare minimum, I tell people, even if you write an article from start to finish, you do all the research, you do it all yourself, you know what would help your article go way better online you could load it into ChatGPT and get it to say, what are the top SEO search words for this article? It doesn't really matter. You wrote everything else. All it's doing is reading the article and telling you the top SEO search words. The other thing that you can also ask it is this article formatted in the most readable way? Retention, getting people to the end of the article is very hard. All those words you wrote, very important. So how could it retain more people's attention? Maybe the formatting is actually just not great. Maybe you did something in a paragraph, but that actually could be in a list followed by an explanation paragraph or something like that. So those types of things are very, very useful, and it'll just reformat it automatically. Those SEO words, you can also ask it to show you a version of your article with the words just sewn into the top two paragraphs, so that this way you kind of have an additional edge online, which is how algorithms work nowadays. They work on specific words, specific readability. So you could be an amazing writer, and researcher, but this little thing will save you, which I used to do on my own. It would take me 2 hours. Now it takes I'll be done that process in 10 minutes.
It's fantastic, and you're right. Really good tool. Yeah, really good tool. Like, thanks for
I should teach an AI
yeah,
class. I really
yeah,
should.
no, it's really interesting. It's true because we're scared and overwhelmed, and sometimes there's so many
Mhm.
platforms, and you need time to test it out. But you already did that for us,
I
so
already
I
did
love
it.
it. Yeah. So yeah, I have a tricky question for you. I know that the times where it's changing, but at the beginning of the social media world, people were like, who are these people, influencers talking about the wines, like shitty wines sometimes, or like, is it relevant? Are they really liking this wine or getting paid to say it's good? So do you think the term influencer should still be used, or should we say wine communicator, content creator? And do you feel like it's changing, or how do you feel about that?
The thing is just the industry itself and the people outside of it will say what they want. Like,
Yeah.
I think there are many amazing other women out there who are also influencers in ways, but they are or categorized as influencers, but that's not what their life is like. Madeline
Hmm.
Puckett, she's awesome, and I think she would be more characterized in her own mind as like a graphic designer and student of wine and owner of Wine Folly, but she's also an influencer. Koki's World of Wine, she's also probably a more clear example of someone who you would call an influencer, but she's studying to go for her Master of Wine, right? So, and like other winemakers and people out there too. I think I think it's kind of hard because a lot of the times people have, actually majority of the time, people have other jobs and other things that they're doing. They're not just focusing in on being an influencer. It's very different than like the lifestyle or beauty influencer space where these people are also not working as makeup artists while also doing beauty influencing online. They are really focusing in on that. In the wine industry, you have more people working not just as influencers, which for me is categorized as solely in an online space, or
Hmm.
just solely as content creation. You
Yeah.
have them doing research, you have them doing writing or creating something else that's just a little bit further than that. But I also just think that the way that this industry is, and this is a very difficult industry to make a lot of money if you care about money. This is,
Yeah.
if you care about money, go into finance.
Yeah.
Don't. This is an industry filled with a lot of passion. And so
True.
people are constantly doubling down on that passion. And it feels like online is another way to showcase that. So I guess it's wine communicators would probably be the better term, but it doesn't feel like every wine communicator or every influencer out there in this industry is solely just doing that.
And also, I think integrity and knowledge and credibility is really important.
Yeah.
Um, because if you're an influencer, it just means you have a lot of people following you, have an audience, but maybe you're not a wine expert or somebody who studied wine. You're just somebody who likes wine. So you don't have the same credibility of somebody who has the background, who has the knowledge to share his insight about the wine.
Yeah, and we see that with other, like there's an influencer in Toronto who I really like. It's called his name is Kyle from Insta. He's such a gorgeous, gorgeous soul, and it like I always invite him to my wine events. He always creates great content about the wine events and cocktail events. He seems to really enjoy them, but he's coming as somebody who enjoys this as a consumer, not as somebody on the
An
trade
expert.
side of things.
Mhm.
And his view of life, which he showcases on his social media, is very much his view. It is gorgeous. It is sepia toned. It is lovely. It feels very like camera obscura type vibe, and that's how he sees his life. This is just an interest of theirs in that way, which is really cool. You can see that it falls into their life in an interest, not in
Mhm.
a role that's incredibly, they have passions. It just doesn't seem like wine and alcohol or wine cocktails alcohol industry is their passion. They clearly have other passions, which is great. And I think you can really see on people's feeds if they're being authentic what their actual passion is. So I can
Mhm.
also talk about wine, but I can also be like, this is what I'm wearing today, or this is my skincare routine, or blah 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 blah, as people, or
Mhm.
AI things as people ask for them.
Yeah, it's true. And but we have to be careful. I think the downside of social media is like so-called experts or like people who proclaim themselves as expert, but they're not. It's so easy to just make a bio as like sommelier, certified sommelier, but you're not. And you're like a self-taught sommelier, maybe you're like, I don't know, you're just somebody who likes reading books about wines. So that's the part I would say is a little bit tricky, who could be a little bit confusing for the consumers.
It is. At the end of the day, social media is only one way forward for people. You have to have if they're using it to build a business and to create wealth in their own life, that's part of the aspect of it, but it's also part of the aspect of being a business owner. Your business has to follow through in some way, shape, or form. And like I said, this industry is not a really good industry for making a bunch of money really quickly. It is something that is based around passion. People tend to gravitate towards those people that have that passion within the industry. So you really can see through those cracks the more you spend time with them overall, or the more you dive into their business. So even though they have a bunch of followers online, I'm usually like, okay, what's the rest of the business look like? Is it going very well? You can buy followers, you can buy all these things. So, it's the other aspect of it that's important.
Yeah, it's going like behind the surface, kind of, because in the surface could be, oh, this person seems really, but then you go in the background, it's like, oh, okay, she's a full-time doctor and like whatever. So I don't know, but it's like, yeah.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. We see the so-called experts, but yeah. I know you're true.
I'm very diplomatic. I've also hit an age where I'm just like, I really am focusing in on my own self-preservation, my own things that I really care about doing, my own passions, and like the people that I want to keep in my life, and also like sleep and eat good food and take walks with my dog and spend time with my partner is also very good. So I've actually just stopped paying attention to all the people I don't like.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. It's so loud out there. So, but yeah, so let's go to my favorite topic: travel, wine travel.
Yay! I know you're like the queen of traveling around the world now. I'm envious.
I was so excited. I was looking forward for the launch of your YouTube channel because I know you have such amazing content.
We have champagne coming up next. Just wait.
No way.
The region. We have so much amazing stuff about champagne coming up next. It's going to be so
fun. So tell us a little bit of what can we expect on your YouTube channel.
So the YouTube channel is basically videos that I've been filming for the last year. This was a project that I've been working on through 2025. Last year, I went on 33 different trips for work. And I thought, why aren't I know, right? I'm not tired.
And this is work, and you're not paid to go there most of the time.
Not paid to go there. And me being the business owner that I am, like, how can I make this trip work as hard for me as me taking my time to go there? What can I do to truly improve upon the use of my time? So shooting these videos, kind of creating content on the fly with it, I find that I do really well in terms of my own comments on spaces when I'm there and when I'm interacting with people. And I was like, I really want to be able to capture that. Anyone who's been to like my events or has met me IRL knows that this is always how I am. And even when it comes to online, I'm also thinking about like, oh, how do I want to film this, or how do I want to do this? Even still, though it comes from a authentic place, there's still a lot of thought process behind that. And I wanted to kind of capture the on-the-fly nature that I'm actually very good at. And that's what this kind of all entails. We just finished our playlist for Ontario for exploring the epic wine country. That was what we started off with. And next we're going to be rolling into Champagne. How many videos are we going to have for Champagne? Let's see. I will tell you. We have 7 videos for Champagne, and then we move into Alsace next. So it's going to be very fun. Yeah.
So it's a deep, behind the scenes kind of
These
like,
are behind the scenes. They're
yeah.
deep dives. They're off the beaten path. So in Champagne, I take you guys on a hike through the vineyards with me. It's a
So
13-kilometer hike, but we also add in in France, there's no hike that doesn't include a little village that you can see because they're only like 20 kilometers away from each one. And if you start in the middle, you'll definitely find one at the end. It's visiting different producers. It's also understanding the terroir of that region. When we get to Alsace, we do a massive 40 wine tasting and understanding like what the terroir is for those wines.
Yeah, so people can see what it's like to go on a press trip for a wine expert, and like actually they're going to see that it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of, so all of these videos come from very short trips in the region. You're not there for very long. Kristine and I went to Moldova together, and I think we did 3 or 4 wineries a day on mainly 3 wineries, but one day I believe had 4 wineries.
Mm-hmm.
I was on a trip in Catalan. I think we did 5 wineries a day with 45-minute visits per winery, it really felt like it. At the end of the day, it just felt like I don't remember exactly what I tasted, but I have a video.
That's good.
So, I think that's, I'm trying to bring people along with me, showcase that they're also like not exorbitantly long. They're all under 20-minute videos.
Looking forward to it. And so is there a region that you would share about that really got you, I don't know, you were like, you went there, you didn't have any expectations, and you were like, what the hell is going on here? It's amazing.
I feel like I would feel that in Australia, because I find I in my mind, Australia is like the US and Canada, where everything is very, very far apart. But I also meet a lot of producers from there who speak in a way that is very esoteric and very like European old world connected, and they will argue with you until the cows come home that their soil is part of the old world terroir and not the new world terroir because of how old it is. So, I think I would be very surprised by the vibe there, but I haven't been. So I don't know. Maybe that's the next trip. Maybe I have to go.
New Zealand and Australia.
I have not been to New Zealand or Australia. South Africa I've been to, which was really fun. And South Africa was another one of those where everything was very spread apart, and I really did like it a lot. South Africa also has an incredible political history that has 2 different stories that they're telling, one of which is older and been there forever and is the cultural homelands of the people that belong there, and the other is people that have arrived. And, you really do see that playing out a lot in wine. Wine is especially in South Africa, wine is a very privileged region to be a part of, which is unfortunate. At the same time, there are people that very much realize that and kind of return back to looking at the different demographics of especially Stellenbosch and Cape Town in a really unique way.
So cool. Yeah. So much places to visit.
It's really fun.
Yes, so I have a few questions so we can finish off our conversation.
Okay.
We could go
on and on. We could go on and on.
Yeah, I want to know what's your top wines that you tasted recently that people should discover, and also a few words for our women in wine or aspiring sommeliers that maybe they need to hear today from you.
Yeah, top wines. I've been really getting into more Luero from Portugal, like straight up Luero. Yeah, I know, right? If you know, you know. Luero is part of the blend of Vinho Verde. So, it's great, but it is an incredibly aromatic grape varietal. We're seeing more and more Luero, just straight up Luero as it is. In terms of other wines, I'm always drinking sparkling wine. I'm always drinking sparkling wine. Always.
You're my girl. I'm a sparkling girl.
Right? I will drink any sparkling wine that somebody hands to me that I've never tried before. I will try it. And we were in Moldova. We had sparkling Cabernet Sauvignon, which I was so blown away by. I was like, this is like minty fresh. Like, I love this.
The sparkling red?
No, it was white. It was
Blanc de Blanc? Okay.
it was a blanc. It was a Blanc de Noir. It was by the winery that began with an
Blanc de Noir.
R. What was that one?
Which one?
It began with an R, with that beautiful woman with the longish blonde hair. She was tall. She was wearing a cool blazer.
Which beautiful woman? Moldova, all the women are beautiful.
The sparkling winery. It began with an R from Moldova.
Radancini.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Radancini.
fantastic.
That was really good.
Radancini. Yeah, I agree.
I will drink any bubbly sparkling wine that anybody hands me. I'll happily be like, "Ooh, what's this?
Yeah,
Yummy."
yeah,
That,
and the sparklings from Moldova are really good quality. Really
very
good.
good.
Yeah.
The other thing is, what have I recently been into that's not those areas? Where was I keep refining myself in Cabernet Franc. Every time I forget about it, I'm like, oh right, I remember I like this.
Well, true. It used to be one of my first loves from Loire, but it's true that I don't drink it that much nowadays.
Neither
the
do
other day
I.
I was tasting it. It was so good. Yeah.
And every time somebody hands me, I'm like, why have I not been drinking as much of this as I should? This is so good. And every region that I have it, it's delightful. I have not had a bad region of Cabernet Franc. And I think
Niagara is fantastic.
Yeah, it's great too. I think people forget about it. So those Luero is the new one, Cabernet Franc continuing to come back and sparkling all the time. And then for women in wine, I would say across the board, self-preservation and focusing in on yourself is a very important trait for women to have in any business, in anything that they're doing at any point in time. You really need to focus in on what is going to make your life work. You're the only person that is going to be advocating for you. You should love yourself and care about yourself more than anybody else in your life. And you should put all of the hard work you think that you need into your life before you put it into somebody else's life. It is incredibly important that you do that. Women are consistently asked to show up for other people, and that is great, but you really should be showing up for yourself first, because you can give all of your time and energy to others and never see it come back in a return. And I know that sounds really selfish, but you should be selfish. Just do it. It's fine. Otherwise, you're not going to get the life that you want.
That's a great advice. I agree. We don't have wine, but cheers to that.
I know, right? It's too early. This conversation would be 2 hours.
It's Friday, but let's keep it for
so many more work to do.
Yeah, we'll keep it for next time because we're gonna have Renee for other episodes for sure.
I'll be back for other episodes.
Thanks for your time. Thanks for sharing all your insights, and congrats for your new YouTube channel. Everything you do, it's fantastic to follow you.
Thank you. You too. You're the best. I love doing stuff with you.
See you guys in the next episode. Thanks for joining us.